Long time no see. Long time no see. Long time no see.
Long 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 long
long time no see.
long 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 long
Long time no see. Long time no see.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Talk Vietnam. You've just seen an extract of a triple bill contemporary dance performance. The dance performance was organized and choreographed by Candoco, a UK dance company. This is special because they are the first dance company in the UK to integrate disabled and non-disabled dancers. And in the 2008 Olympics and Paralympics, they had a chance to perform in the stage. And it was the first time in the two games' history that both non-disabled dancers and disabled dancers were recognized. And we're so happy to have them in our studio today as part of their Vietnam tour because they're going to be talking to us a little bit about their unique dancing style, their unique values, as well as how they've enjoyed Vietnam. So our first guest from the company is actually Pedro Machado. And he's a co-artistic director, and he's the soul behind the group's creativity, and he's been with the group for 6 years now. So let's first start talking to him. So, hi, how are you?
I'm good,
Yeah.
thank you.
Welcome to the show. It's a little bit cool
Pleasure.
outside.
Yeah.
So, is there something special to the name of the company?
Yeah,
Candoco.
Yeah, it will be can do as in it's able to do, the company, as a way of saying everybody is able to do everything.
That's awesome. Now, is there a special philosophy within your company?
I think is that dance in itself, it's not intrinsically exclusive of people with different bodies. You know, dance is welcome to people with different bodies. In one way, the way we perceive dance today to be seems a little bit exclusive, and the tradition, the history made it a bit exclusive. But there's nothing about dance that needs a homogenized body. And we also believe in Candoco that if we, in creating a space that welcomes people to be themselves and to volunteer something of themselves. And if we create this, then beautiful things happen because everybody wants to contribute something good for the company.
Right. And how do you describe the company's artistic style?
We like to have a varied repertoire, so we commission different choreographers to make work. And we like choreographers who have a very distinct voice and who maybe bring a little bit more understanding about the potential of dance, what is that dance can make. So people who are quite clever and quite progressive in their thinking. But we also like to have pieces that present the dancers, because the dancers are the continuum. This is the constant of the repertoire. So I look for choreographers that will show the skills of the dancers, but also show the dancers as artists, who they are. We want work that engages with people, that moves people. Maybe that's a bit funny. You know, maybe we have a bit of a dark humor sometimes, but we like work that is engaging.
Really?
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about dark humor.
Yeah.
Tell us a few examples about how dark humor manifests itself in dance.
Yeah, just being a bit provocative or get people to think about things differently, not take yourself so seriously.
Tell me, why is Candoco unique?
I think because of our commitment to quality from a very early stage. So in one way, what makes us unique now is that we have 22 years of very high professional history and being very ambitious. Also, what makes us unique is the talent of our dancers. You know, they really want something for themselves. They also believe in what the company does, and they are very dedicated. We have a very dedicated team in the office. And I think also what makes us unique is that we are, maybe not unique, but one thing that distinguishes us from many other companies is that we are prepared to take risks, and we like risks. And so it's something that we are always inviting to the company, how to push what we do further and not just rest into what we know.
Founded in 1991, Candoco grew quickly into the first company of its kind in the UK, a professional contemporary dance company focused on the integration of disabled and non-disabled dancers. In 2008, Candoco took part in the handover ceremonies at the Beijing Olympics and the Paralympic Games, representing Britain. It was the first time disabled artists were present in both the events in the history of the Games. The company also performed at both the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2012 Summer Paralympics in London. Candoco has toured to over 50 countries, visiting Europe, Australia, North and South America, Asia and Africa. Its performances in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City are one important event to kick off the Great British Week in Vietnam, celebrating the 40th anniversary of Vietnam and UK diplomatic relations, and the 20th anniversary of British Council's presence in Vietnam. So let's talk about some of the biggest challenges that Candoco has faced over 20 years of work.
So, I mean, at the moment, there's the obvious financial challenge. You know, that's difficult, especially in a moment that we are so ready to expand, and you know, things, especially in Europe, are difficult financially. I think there is also a challenge at the moment, which is the relationship that we have with live work, because live work demands a level of commitment. You know, you need to leave your house, you need to pay some money, you need to sit there for 2 hours and focus on one thing, you know, and whereas you can just have like 30 seconds of something on your phone. You know?
Right.
But I believe a lot in live work. I think it's a great experience, and in especially in the way that we are such a consumerist society that we just want to buy things. So actually, just go and have an experience. That's a great thing to do. So that's a challenge, I think, but also interesting that we have to decide what is this new contract that we have with the audience. So what are the terms of this engagement?
Exactly.
Another challenge is how to find talented disabled dancers with experience, because there are very few opportunities out there for disabled dancers to train and to work. And as I said, we're very demanding, so when they come to us, they need to have experience already. And that's something that we try to address by providing lots of channels for people to train and work.
So Candoco has performed as part of the closing ceremonies of the Summer Paralympics 2012 in London. And you've performed in front of an audience of over 7 million people.
Yeah, it's a TV, of course. Yeah.
So how did this experience change you or brought your message across to a lot of people?
I think it was a great moment. We were in China 4 years previously, and you know, in the Bird's Nest Stadium in front of 90,000 people live, which was quite amazing. I think the major thing was, you know, first to be part of such a great event, to be representing our country in that way was great. But also we realized how some people kind of knew about us and talked about us. Maybe they hadn't even seen us live. You know, when it finally got announced that we were going to be part of, you know, of the closing Paralympics with Coldplay and all that, there are lots of people in social media saying, of course Candoco had to be there, of course Candoco had to be there. We didn't know we were going to be there, you know, until 2 weeks before almost. So we realized that how people, they recognize that, you know, we deserve that, you know, so that was very positive, I think.
And also they recognize, how much it will mean to a lot of other people if you're there.
Yeah. I mean, in China, when we took part in the closing of the Olympics, and it was the first time that a disabled participant had taken part in the close of the Olympics. I think until then there was a lot of segregation, I think.
Mm-hmm. The grand performance in Hanoi was opened by a group of very, very special people. They included 4 people from the Nghị lực sống, or the Will to Live Center, as well as artists from the Hanoi Youth Theater. So let's see what they have in store for us. Because the show was actually choreographed a few days right before the performance itself.
This opening piece, also termed the choreographic residence, is an idea initiated by Candoco as they tour the world. It creates an opportunity to bring change in the perception of and association with disability. A few days prior to that, 4 people from the Will to Live Center and 8 artists from Hanoi Youth Theater teamed up in Life Arts Center to prepare for a special collaboration. For 10 days, the dancers and trainer from Candoco have been throwing lots of different tasks at them as choreographers, getting them to work with each other in different ways, see how they move in the space during different tasks, and through a week finalize or refine it into a piece of dance.
Part of our job is to make sure that everyone finds an individuality. So it's not about saying, you are a bit more different than the other, so you're a bit more individual. It's very much about we all have a difference. That's the work of the company. We all have a difference, and we try to develop that difference to make unique people. And I think everyone here has found a voice in what they are doing.
For Do Tung Nga and Dang Hoài too, this was something they'd never done before, and a short course has revealed something special about them.
Trước khi tới với khóa học thì tôi chưa biết gì về múa. Và tôi nghĩ là múa là một cái gì đó rất là khó. Những người kém may mắn như bọn tôi chắc không bao giờ nghĩ tới. Nhưng mà sau khi tới lớp học, được thầy cô làm quen, lúc bước đầu thì cũng bỡ ngỡ lắm, cũng ngại, cũng rụt rè. Nhưng sau 7 buổi, hôm nay đến buổi thứ 8 thì cũng không còn rụt rè nữa, cảm thấy thích thú, cảm thấy hăng say và chỉ muốn đến giờ thôi ạ.
Tôi cảm thấy nó thoải mái cho người hơn. Mình có thể là làm những cái gì mình thích, nó không gò bó trong một khuôn khổ. Ví dụ như là múa dân gian hay là cái gì đấy thì nó phải theo một cái động tác nhất định. Nhưng mà ở đây thì mình có thể làm bất cứ cái gì mình thích, miễn là mình cảm thấy thoải mái. Khi mà biểu diễn solo ấy, tôi cảm giác như là mình muốn bay lên, cảm giác như thế. Mình muốn thoát khỏi cái rào cản của mình, thoát khỏi cái bóng của mình là một người như thế này.
One thing we know for sure, that the teachers experienced the same feeling when they found out about Candoco, a comedy of can-do people.
My disability does not stop me overcoming anything. It does not limit me. What I need to do is find a way that I can do it with my physicality and also my personality. Everybody's different, and that is the same for every dancer in our company, whether they are disabled or a non-disabled dancer in the company. Everybody has to work and push themselves.
After more than a week of working hard, it's time for them to show their piece to the audience at the Hanoi Opera House.
Đầu tiên tôi biểu diễn ở nhà hát lớn ạ. Mới biểu diễn xong bây giờ vẫn còn thấy run ạ.
Đến giờ tôi vẫn còn rất hồi hộp. Cảm giác như là mình cảm thấy choáng ngợp trước cái không gian rộng lớn và những khán giả đang nhìn mình. Tôi hy vọng là tôi sẽ có những cái cơ hội như thế này để có thể tiếp tục thể hiện mình như thế.
Mình dám mơ hơn, mình nghĩ là mình cũng có thể là một nghệ sĩ múa chẳng hạn. Mai kia biết đâu mình cũng trở thành một nghệ sĩ múa như thầy cô chẳng hạn.
Our next guest is Kate Marsh, Candoco's associated trainer, and she's the one that's been working a lot with the Vietnamese artists in the workshop you've just seen. So Kate, after 1 week working with the artists in the Life Arts Center, what are some of your first impressions?
All very good. They've really impressed me. They've worked extremely hard. In practical terms, the work ethic is fantastic. that they have been consistently hardworking and always ready with creative ideas. So I've been very impressed. It's been a pleasure to work with them.
Petro, let's talk about your grand performance in Hanoi. It was opened by a piece which is termed the choreographic residence, and this is one of the pieces that aim to kind of change the way people view disability in dance. Now, let's talk more about that.
But the choreographic residency is the project that Kate has been leading, and it's when dancers from Candoco work, or artists from Candoco work with local artists. And that was shown on the stage of the Opera House before our performances, so we're sharing the theater together. And it's a great way to really have an artistic interaction with people in Vietnam. Maybe you want to say a little bit about the work itself, how it came about, or what it deals with?
I think perhaps the most important point about the work is the process is a collaboration. So we didn't go in and tell the dancers and the artists how to move or what to do. We used several different tasks and exercises to encourage them to create the material, which was then moulded by Vicky Malin and Andrew Graham, who are dancers in the company. And they used that material to choreograph the overall piece. So it was a real collaboration between the dancers and the two choreographers.
Now, talking about good work, your company has a motto. It's learning and development, and it sits alongside performance and creativity. So both are really equally important and support each other. So tell us a little bit more about this motto.
Well, from my perspective, that really ties into what draws me to the company. And I think Pedro mentioned earlier, I feel that the performances will always engage with people and draw people in and inspire people in a particular way. There's something, however, that I find so exciting about the legacy that can be created through participation and learning. And we're very lucky on this residency that not only will the company perform their really inspiring programme, but I also feel that we're leaving something behind with the Vietnamese participants who I really hope will want to carry on. So in that sense, I think it's really important that those two aspects of dance generally sit together. I think they benefit each other mutually.
Pedro, do you have anything to say about that motto?
Yeah, I think that is important that we understand that they both have the same value, that the creativity, maybe it's the most visible one, it's the most public one. So it's the show on stage, the leading choreographers who make work. But that will feed the learn and the educational program. But the learn and the educational program also feeds the creation. We consider ourselves to be a learning company. We're always learning. We're always deciding how can we do things better or in a different way. And partly because we are aware that there isn't a path in front of us. We're making our own path, and there isn't a formula. So it's a constant learning, and I think that attracts people who are very curious and very open and generous, and that's what I think the company is about.
11 Candoco artists came to Vietnam this time to showcase a triple bill contemporary dance performance titled 3 Acts of Play at the Hanoi Opera House. Let's enjoy.
Stage 1. Wind felt on face. Leaves rustle and wind vanes move. Stage 2. Leaves and twigs in motion. Wind extends light flag, raises dust, loose paper, and moves small branches. Stage 3. Small leaves in tree begin to sway. Stage 4. Large branches in motion, whistling in telegraph wires.
difficulty with umbrellas. Stage 5. Whole trees in motion. The swaying of skyscrapers may be felt. Cars veer off-road. Stage 6. Slight structural damage occurs. Chimney pots and slates are blown off. Damage to circus tents and canopies. Stage 7. Widespread structural damage. Trees uprooted. Stage 8. Storm. An ice storm or a snowstorm. Dust. Yeah, you could have a dust storm. Perhaps you could have a desert storm. Or maybe even a perfect storm.
Our next guest today is Dan Du, Candoco's assistant creative producer. And he's also one of the dancers that's danced in the 3 acts of play that's being performed at the Hanoi Opera House. So let's talk to him right now. Dan, what's the message that you wanted to portray in the 3 acts of play this time?
Well, 3 acts of play is 3 short works by 3 different choreographers. And I guess there's no real specific message we're wanting to get across when we put together works, but it's more about showcasing what Candoco offers as a repertory company, how we can diversify as dancers and develop special skills needed to work with every choreographer we commission.
Yeah. So there are plays, you know, one is the Tennessee Williams, one is the Shakespeare, and the other is not plays, like a play on a playful piece.
So that's where the name essentially came from. Having 3 acts of play and 3 different ways of playing.
Now, when doing such programs, how emotionally invested do you have to be in the character of the character that you were portraying?
Well, every time we perform, it takes a level of focus and I guess being ready to step on stage and to perform every work as though you're performing it for the very first time, because audiences, they're seeing it for the very first time, so it's our job as dancers to give them that.
Exactly, to give your all. Every time it's like the first time.
That, so every time is like the first time, at risk of sounding corny, but that's actually how I operate when I step on stage. And in that, even though you've performed work many times, you leave yourself open to discovering something new about the work or about yourself within the work. And so it does require a level of focus and having to learn different ways to get ourselves in, because we're having to perform 3 works over the course of an evening. So we have to develop ways ourselves that we can reach to that point to be able to get ready for the next piece and give it our all and to the highest professional standard.
Is there a certain message that from the piece that you want to send towards the Vietnamese audience?
As Dan was saying actually about Candoco's programme, there's no specific message. What I really hope people took away from the performance is to see that over a relatively short period of time of working in Vietnam, that actually a company was formed, a group of 12 people who can work really effectively together, creating very high quality, creative work. So I hope that's the message that came away.
And that everybody can also have their own message, their own interpretation of the piece as well.
Yes.
During their time in Vietnam, Candoco first took part in the International Dance Festival in Hanoi, Europe meets Asia in contemporary dance, in which they performed in translation an intricate piece by Emmanuel Gat. Performed to a piano score by Johann Sebastian Bach, the piece is built at a single sequence of movement that evolves and unfolds in duets, trios, or solos.
It's not for them to say this is how it's going to be. It's more a case of, we're thinking, yes, it could be this, or it could be that. And what I thought of it would be different to what someone else might think of it. I just felt that they moved so fluently and together. It was cohesive. The whole piece seemed to fit together. I really felt that they were showing their best for their disabilities.
In the middle of a dance, the music suddenly stopped, while the dancers continued to move to their own rhythms. This has left a deep impression among the audience.
Khi không có âm nhạc thì người diễn viên họ làm theo cái nhịp cảm xúc của họ, theo nhịp nhạc của họ, theo cái giai điệu của chính họ, thì tự dưng cái người xem họ được sâu hơn về cái trạng thái cảm xúc của người diễn viên trên sân khấu. Và cái đoạn đó là cái đoạn mà tôi cảm thấy lắng nhất, và nó cho tôi được nhiều cái sự thấu và sự hiểu cái nhân vật đó nhiều hơn.
After the participation in the festival, Candoco had their own night at Hanoi Opera House, where they performed 3 acts of play. Twisting perception of what dance is, who can dance, and who enjoys it. It was an evening of 3 diverse dance works. Firstly, there was the restaging of one of Trisha Brown's signature works, Set and Reset, Reset, an exploration of visibility and invisibility.
Mình khá là thấy bị ấn tượng bởi cái cách mà họ tận dụng thế mạnh và cái sự đặc trưng trong chuyển động của mỗi diễn viên ở trong đoàn, không chỉ là các diễn viên bình thường, cả diễn viên khuyết tật. Cái cách mà chuyển động của cái tay giả thì nó không thể uốn éo mà nó sẽ phải tạo vào cái tựa vào cái đà văng hoặc là cái chuyển động của cơ vai. Thì tất cả các diễn viên khi diễn cùng cô ấy cũng tận dụng cái chuyển động như vậy.
Next up was Studies for C, inspired by Tennessee Williams' play Camino Real, which explores a world in which a couple are trapped in a long-term relationship, characterized by struggle and power play.
Ở thứ hai thì nó lại tạo nên một vấn đề phức tạp hơn về cái mối quan hệ giữa con người với con người, giống như là một cái sự phức tạp của cuộc sống mà lại phải đối diện nhau. Nó có cả giống như là Việt Nam mình nói hỉ nộ ái ố, tôi cũng cảm thấy rất là nhiều cái cảm giác ở trong đó, và người ta phải đấu tranh nhưng mà cũng không thoát ra được.
In Imperfect Storm, the last piece of the night, a troupe of performers come together to stage Shakespeare's The Tempest. However, with not enough time to perform the whole play, they decide to perform only the stage directions. This humorous piece delivers quirky costumes and theatrical movements, giving it a truly distinctive style.
This performance is celebrating one of the big values that Britain has been promoting in Vietnam, and that's diversity. So we want to find ways to promote different members of society contributing in different ways, including disabled people, and I think that's what this dance company is all about.
And can you cite some of the valuable experiences that Candoco has in promoting the integration of the disabled and non-disabled dancers?
So
in removing that gap, and just seeing them whole as dancers.
Yeah, I think it's always tricky, in interviews because we talk a lot about disabled and disabled, and the truth is there is no difference, especially for us. We don't see things like that. But of course, that's what we want to do, and we want to remove the gap precisely, and we understand that not everybody is there with us.
Exactly.
So there are lots of things we do. There's the youth companies that I mentioned. So we have a group of kids or young people who meet and they have class and they perform, and it's integrated. We always work in this way. We have a partnership with one of the major dance conservatoires in the UK, which is Trinity Laban. So it's a way of ensuring there is a proper professional training for disabled dancers. There was a foundation course that we did. We did a project when we supported 2 disabled choreographers to make large-scale work. So it's a way also of supporting them to be better known and gain skills. So the company does a lot, I think, in that area.
Speaking from personal experience and being on the edge of other people's experiences, I think it's about exposure to excellent choreographers, consistently good and changing training so that the training is always relevant. There's, Pedro mentioned earlier, shifts in the culture of contemporary dance, and I think it's really beneficial for all dancers in Candoco to be carried with those shifts, to be part of changes, to work for a company, I suppose, that has its finger on the pulse, if you like. I think that's really important and extremely beneficial for all the dancers.
It's about knowing what you want, and it's about determination, and it's about working hard. Disabled or not, it's about working hard, and that doesn't stop once you join Candoco. It's every day of dancer's life in any company, anywhere in the world. If you really want it, you've got to work hard. You have to work hard. And I think that's key. And in terms of fitness, it's fitness. It's not about ability or disability.
Exactly.
It's about being able to do the job and to do the job well.
Exactly. I think it's so true. Hard work and determination, and basically, giving your all to what you really believe in. I think it's so overly said, but I think it's also so true at the same time. In Ho Chi Minh City, Candoco conducted a dance workshop with street and migrant children with Seoul Academy. So let's take a look at this dance collaboration.
25 youth from age 9 to 16 are present at Candoco's conference today. They are formerly street and migrant children, now being cared for by the nuns at the VNtienganh Center in District 8, Ho Chi Minh City. This is the first time that youth have gotten a chance to discover contemporary dance.
Cái điều mà cũng như là tập đi cũng như là từ buổi trưa tới buổi tối thì mình nhảy, rồi từ buổi tối đến buổi sáng thì mình đi vòng tròn, rồi từ buổi sáng thì đến buổi trưa thì mình cứ bò.
Having graduated from a dance school in Greece, then moving to the United States, and then later on becoming a member of Candoco in the UK, Kostat is one of Candoco's 3 representatives at its workshop. Alongside his colleagues, Kostas talks with the youth on ways of how to fulfill their dreams.
I think that there is no limit in the age or in the gender, or there is not a perfect time to start dancing as long as you feel that you are inspired and you look up to someone. So yeah, follow your spirit, your heart, your passion, and hopefully with the right training you can follow a professional career if this is the dream.
I think it's a great way to learn about yourself as a person and to be able to communicate with each other, and also to sometimes like just to have time to kind of concentrate and focus on in a different way on your own body. And I think through dance you can learn so much, not just about, you know, being beautiful or being athletic or being flexible. I think it's really about like being in the world in a different way. Be well, be creative, be respectful.
The workshop is also a gift to the instructors at Seoul Academy, which focuses on music education and was founded by Thanh Bùi, the former Australian Idol contestant who made the top 8 in 2008.
Chúng tôi là những người giảng dạy cũng như học viên có được một cái cơ hội để mà cảm nhận được cái thế giới nghệ thuật, cái cuộc sống nghệ thuật đang xảy ra xung quanh mình. Để chúng tôi có được một cái tinh thần tốt nhất trong cái sự làm việc cũng như học tập.
Workshops like these have been an indispensable part of Candoco's tour to more than 50 countries in the world in the past 20 years.
Let's now talk a bit about some of the interesting things that you find in your job. I know you've talked about, you know, how dedicated you are to the company, how great the company is, but let's talk about the job personally to you. What about you, Dan? What do you think is most interesting about what you're doing?
I think the most interesting thing for me is I'm finding more and more that I'm very stimulated by challenge, and having a challenge, being challenged, and I feel in my job I'm more and more being able to locate those challenges and locate those things within my job and within the company that would challenge me, not so much to advance my career, but more to nourish what I'm doing and nourish my artistry and nourish my leadership. And I think that's the key thing.
So let's recall a little bit about your relationship and your experiences within Candoco. You've talked a little bit about your tours worldwide, but are there any stories within the company that really, you know, sticks to your heart? Any memories that's really dear to you?
There are many, I think, probably for all of us.
Anything that you're willing to share?
Well, I think seeing the company perform the first time, even before I knew I would work for the company, which I did, that was quite memorable. And then later when I realized that I was going to work with those people, you know, that I had seen, that was quite remarkable.
Kate, you said you have a lot of memories.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots and lots of memories. I think, and I don't know what Dan would say, but I think the closing ceremony of the Paralympics was, for lots of reasons, it was a really important memory because it brought together old and new dancers from the company, and we all worked together, and it was very different artistically, very different from the work that lots of us had been involved in. And I think there were points where we were having makeup and because literally we're painted gold, which is quite rare in contemporary dance. And I think we'd all been quite jovial about, oh, we're doing this, and because you didn't see the stage literally until we went on. So I remember very clearly that moment of 1 minute joking and then the next minute stepping into the stadium, which was just the biggest place that I've ever performed in, and that was fairly overwhelming in a really great way. So that's one I'll remember for a long time.
That's great. So let's talk to Pedro now. With a wealth of 20 years, of doing dance and creating art, what is Candoco's goal now at this moment in time, and how far is it in that goal?
So I think the last years we have been concentrating on supporting disabled artists to get more work and to get more training and to and to be able to pursue whatever they want to pursue. At the moment, we want to continue doing what we're doing and better, but I think the desire for the coming years is to try to have a real clear impact on the existing mainstream companies, to try to engage with companies to see if they would work more inclusively. And maybe if we don't work with established companies, we'll try to find then the next generation of artists to see if we actually start to change the way things are. Because I really believe that there'll be one day that there will be no difference, that dance will be like this. It might be 100 years from now. Maybe with Candoco will be 50 years from now, and I want it to be 10 years from now. So I think we want to really see this change happen because we know it's exciting. The audience knows it's exciting. The artists, that we encounter enjoyed working this way. I met the extremely talented disabled artists who have a lot to give. So it's a matter of making it happen.
Now, to both Kate and Pedro, if you meet a Vietnamese disabled person who really loves to dance and who's been told many, many times that no, that's not something that you can do, or you just meet like a dancer who's gifted and given that wants to dance, what kind of advice do you give to these two types of people?
I have an anecdote that relates to that question from our Vietnamese participants who asked us today, what will we do next? Which is a great question because it shows that they want to do something next. Exactly. And our response to them was, actually, it's down to you to take the experience and to as Dan said, to work hard and push and actually knock on people's doors and ring people up. And there is that initial period where you perhaps have to push a bit harder to create opportunities because it's often very simple. The space that we've been working is potentially an available space for people to work. It's accessible practically, and there are already people popping up out of the workshops that we've led that could very happily and would be very able to carry on working together and leading things. So I think it's just actually about shouting about what you want to do a little bit.
Exactly.
And maybe also identify and find people who inspire you and do it together, because sometimes to start is difficult.
Exactly.
And maybe also that is the other advice, is start, because it's difficult. And then you can decide, how you continue in a way, but don't give up.
Right. If there's a group in Vietnam that wants to, I would say, imitate your model, of your dance company, what do you think they should start with?
They should, I think, find people in the dance world that have interesting ideas and hopefully work together. And as Kate said, look for partners and support. And they can always get in touch with us as well and just tell us that they're doing this. And if we can support them in any way, we will.
That's great. It's great to hear that. Yeah.
And I think also just finding a few friends and a room big enough to dance in. And then starting from there, and that would really be the simplest advice I could give. Was just start dancing and see what happens.
All right, thank you so much, all of you, and for being on the show. And it's really great to hear those stories. Very inspirational, and I think it's going to help a lot of people in Vietnam out. So thank you so much for being on our show.
You. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, and that's it for this edition of Talk Vietnam. Until next time, we'll see you again.